This is Miss Mrs. Today she is going to be our emotional support plushie for today because y'all, today was not it. Today was not it. And if I'm being honest, the last 2 days have not been it, but it is what it is. All I can really do is do my best and always remember that I always show up giving my best and I know what my motives and my intentions are. And sometimes I'm going to fall short of that. And sometimes I'm not going to make everyone happy. And I have to be genuinely okay with that. But when I tell you, when I got off of work, I definitely sat on my car for about 45 minutes. And y'all, I do not have a child. I don't. Unfortunately, my dog did pass last year, and rest in peace to her. I love her. I don't have a cat. I have literally no responsibilities, but sometimes you just have a day where you just sit in your car for 45 minutes like you're avoiding your responsibilities like the plague. And again, my only responsibility right now is me. And that is a full-time job in and of itself. And wow, I'm still choosing to find gratitude. As my best friend always likes to remind me, at the end of the day, no matter what, the day is gotta end. They cannot keep you there because you know what? For how I like to explain it is that's called kidnapping. They have to let you go. They can't keep you there forever. It's either, slavery, which we're all denying exists most days, or it's kidnapping. So none of those are good. So at the end of the day is always going to end. And the goal of it is to reflect on it, examine what you could have done better, what you can do better for the future if there's a lesson to be learned there, and then leave it in the past because there's nothing else you can do to fix that moment. So yeah, but now we're locked in, we're good, we're doing a whole lot better. But not prior to my desire to emotionally eat. So DoorDash is definitely on its way. That was definitely not supposed to happen, but listen, I'm fighting for my life here and I'm doing my best, and I did technically get paid today, so I'm going to give that to myself. Everything else, I always make sure my bills are paid. Know that I'm at least that responsible. And your girl submitted her taxes at least like 2 days prior to April 15th. So I was early, which is on time. Almost down to the wire, but not on the wire. So we're going to take that. So everyone is happy. Again, no Wesley Snipes over here. The government took its check. And again, I am still demanding things because I am not investing thousands of dollars only for you to tell me I should work forever. I should have a 50-year car loan. Listen, my retirement strategy at some point is either learning languages and trying to visit other countries and coming back, or passing out cookies in Publix, if Publix is still a thing at that point, because who knows what things will be like in the future, right? While I'm waiting for DoorDash to be delivered, I did make myself a little drink. Cheers. Cheers to you for coming back. Cheers to us for making it through the day. Things that have been up with me. Anyone has been around and remembers my Love is Blind video when I was like knitting. Maybe I'll insert a picture here, a screenshot of it. But I did indeed finish that project from Five Below. My sister was very kind enough to send me a Wooble. She had some arts and craftsies that I've really been tapping into and very much enjoyed. And I tell you, I did it. This was all me. It took me several tries, y'all, several tries. I had been working on this since Saturday, but I've enjoyed the process the entire time. I was so locked in that my eyes were blurring and I had to do the 20 minutes, 20 away ergonomic trick. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be making that appointment to get my eyes checked. This is Frieda McFadden and the Housemaid. When I tell you, I was sat the entire time. Shout out to those women who told me at the hair salon to get this, because Lord, cheers to them. They definitely hit the nail on the head with this one. So much so that I was honestly kind of sad that I found out that it was a series. I did not want to get into any of them. I thought it was going to be a one and done and then I get to move on, but nope, that's not what happened. And we're going to do this book report in a little bit because I definitely have a little template pulled up because I was not joking. You thought I was lying? No. But anywho, Frieda McFadden, well-told story. I very much love the thriller. I thought it was going to be smut. It wasn't. It was very much a thriller. They kind of glaze over the steamy things. But all I can say for this entire thing, what I recognize is I was indeed correct in feeling my feelings that I felt towards all these characters of not liking any of them. But my reasoning and why I did not like them was completely incorrect. I was completely wrong. I was wrong. So, main characters, we've got Nina. She's the lady who hires the housemaid. We've got Millie. She is the housemaid. Andrew, very much giving mediocre. And then we've got Enzo Italiano Gardner Prosciutto. I don't know why I did that. I really don't know. And then we've got, her name is Cecilia, aka Cece. All right, so again, did not like any of these people. Enzo, I liked him. I was okay with Enzo. And to this day, I'm still okay with Enzo. Some people don't like Enzo. I said, But anywho, so main characters. When we start the story, you meet Millie. She's living in her car. She's down on her luck. She just has this interview. You're like, oh, it's going really well. And then when she gets in the car, she's just like, I don't know why I went on this interview. I just got out of prison. And you're like, what? And that's how on day one I was 45% into this book. What do you mean? What in the entire heck do you mean that you've gone to prison? You don't find out for a really long time why she went to prison, but as the layers are unfolding, you're getting a gist of her character and everything like that. But Nina, she is the housewife that hires Millie. And when we last left off on this, I said that the moment that Millie pulled out a bottle of haloperidol from that medication cabinet, she should have been gone. She should have been gone. It is an antipsychotic. I'm not villainizing mental health because obviously this is a fictional character, right? Because honestly, if you really look into it, people who have mental health concerns, even if psychosis is one of them, it's actually very rare that they commit violent crimes. It's actually a pretty small population. So don't stigmatize people with that foolishness, right? This woman is quote unquote crazy, or you think this woman is quote unquote crazy because once she packs her bags and heads off to a very nice hotel, apparently, on Andrew's dime because he is wealthy. Because that, in all of these books, Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, all of it, it's all painted as, it's okay, he can be terrible, he's rich. Because when I tell you, nobody is letting anybody put them through that emotional ringer for nothing. And people are saying, I guess, if I'm going to be miserable, I'd rather cry in a Porsche than in a Honda. I love my paid off 2021 Toyota. So he indeed is the one who is the true villain of this entire story, right? But then you find out that there's multiple villains. Everyone's a villain technically. Because Nina, you get mad at her because at first you think she's crazy and torturing this girl. Then you find out that no, you don't not like her for that. You don't like her because ultimately she purposefully hired this girl so that she could serve her up on a platter to her psychotic husband. And then you find out, no, that's not why you really don't like her. You really, really don't like her because what the actual plan is, she hand selected this woman because plot twist, turns out when she was a teenager, best friend from high school, they go to a party, they sneak out of their, I think, juvenile delinquent boarding school or whatever. They sneak out to a party, and while there, one of the boys tries to force himself on her best friend. She walks in, she bludgeons him to death to save her best friend. She gets sent to prison for 10 years, gets out after 5 for probation and whatever. And I'm just like, for a violent crime? They let you out after 5, but I'm like, I guess everyone's like, we understand why you did it, but next time just call the cops, right? Ultimately, she gets released or whatever, and Nina specifically hired her for that specific fact because, plot twist, Millie is not going to be a victim. Millie is not going to be a mistress. Millie is now going to be an assassin, a housemaid assassin. One lesson of all these romance novels, smut novels, thrillers is a lot of people will excuse a lot of behavior because he's rich. And because, again, you cannot convince me that Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey could happen for average people with average salaries who have jobs. Because how the hell is he just dropping everything to stalk her? That would be creepy, but it's okay. He's rich. Literally, that's how everything is fixed. They're like, don't worry about it. We're rich. But anywho, let that not be how you operate and move through life. Please do not, again, think that just because someone is imaginably wealthy that they have higher moral standards. Have self-esteem, because if you do not have self-esteem, people will suss that out and take advantage of you and probably fuck up your life for a hot minute. All of them need to go to therapy and talk to someone. And then also go to therapy because at one point, You were the victim, but then now you are the perpetrator. So I feel bad for you, Andrew, that you went through that, but I am not going to excuse any of the behavior.
Editing me here. To be clear, that goes for Andrew and Nina because Nina indeed was a victim. She is just like Cassie and Diddy's mess. Nina is indeed a victim, but the moment she dropped Enzo and Millie into her foolishness, she has now crossed into the line of perpetrator. We all understand she's got motives for doing it, but let us not ignore the fact that they are both manipulative and ruining the lives of complete strangers. Even though technically Enzo had already ruined his life in Italy, but he was starting afresh. Millie was trying to start all over, and look at that. She's brought into killing more people while she's on probation. Just saying, everybody can catch these hands. Thank you.
Because one of the things that really annoyed me about Andrew and why I despised him, I first didn't like him because I thought he was just mediocre and just out here doing the whole, again, my wife doesn't see me the way you do. She doesn't make me feel alive. And you're 20 and just got into the world and doe-eyed and don't know what's going on. And I'm going to take advantage because I feel like I can mold you. And I'm going to rob you of your youth because I'm going to tell you, don't go out. Don't have fun with your friends. You need to stay here because we're in a relationship. All that foolishness. I just created a whole picture for you, but that's what I assume is happening most of the time. But anywho, there is definitely a problem with power dynamics because he purposely seeks wounded birds because he gives them this false hope that he's going to free them once he's like mended their wing. But nope, he snaps the cage and he's like, oh, I love you too much. I'm never going to let you go and I'm going to suffocate you. Because the torture that happens for both of them is he locks them both in attics, makes them do things for what he perceives and tortures them for what he perceives are transgressions that they've done against him so that they can learn lessons and be grateful. Yeah, again, stop looking at wealthy people, especially unimaginably wealthy people, as in like these people with these high morals. They're probably just normal people or possibly worse because I have a theory that people who are so wealthy and they can own everything, they do all this random stuff because they need to find joy and get a thrill in some ways because they're not living and working hard to afford a vacation. They can always vacation. They don't have to wait for things. They just buy it. Again, what I thought I hated Andrew for was not what I really hated him for. He was sadistic, he was crazy, and then turns out, no, none of those people are the real villain. It's his mom. She did that to him as a kid, and he is just reinventing the cycle because when she shows up to her son's funeral, and you know she knows, right? And we're thinking, oh my gosh, the shoe is gonna drop, right? No, she's like, well, I told him to brush his teeth. You taught him a lesson. It is what it is. And I said, what? Because lest we not forget that Millie made him torture himself by pulling out all of his teeth, making him think he'll be able to get out. And she let him starve to death and dehydrate to death. She left him there for a week without food, water, and everything like that. So yeah, because I'm glad she did that because when she got the upper hand, another plot twist, Nina, again, that's how you find out she really wanted her to assassinate her. She left pepper spray in there for her. So when Andrew came to release her, she doused him and got out and she locked him in his own torture room, right? And so plot twist with that, I actually lost my train of thought with that. Oh yeah, Nina hand selected this woman who already was going through stuff, probably re-traumatized her. I guess Millie's content with it. She's like, I'll keep killing people, sure, whatever. I have a moral code. But yeah, and then Cecilia is not as terrible as you think she is. She's still annoying and still a child, and she's very much acting her age. But then you find out she's just very critical because if she does anything bad, her mom has to pay for it. And yeah, there are two victims ultimately in this thing. But anyhow, the only person I liked, and I still like him, some people don't like him, is Enzo.
In Googling and trying to find pictures for this video, why did I find out that the guy playing Enzo in The Housemaid, the movie, is the same guy who played the lead character in 365 Days? You know that Netflix movie that is again proving my point where we're being pushed this narrative that, hey, as long as he's rich and in that case attractive, it's okay. He can drug you and kidnap you for 365 days and it's all right. He's rich. Let us fall in love. But
Enzo, he is out here trying to help Nina. He was the only one trying to tell Millie, bitch, don't come here. And then once Nina gets out and she's out here living her life, thankfully you find out that she's not completely crazy and twisted like that. He's like, you do know you have to let her out, right? Like, we have to call the cops and check on her. Shout out to Enzo for that. Moral of the story for this story is be careful because there are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing. Again, as I've previously stated, just because someone is wealthy, just because someone is attractive, does not mean that they are inherently good people. It doesn't mean they're inherently terrible and sinister, but it means don't take anything at face value. Do not judge a book by its cover in any way, shape, or form. Definitely classism exists. Have self esteem, especially when you're dating and out here in these streets. I'm never going to know. I'm not going to be in your head and I'm not going to try to get in your head. But thank you so much for stopping by. This was our little book report for The Housemaid. We will lock in. We'll see what we talk about next time. I did not know this was going to be a series. And because your girl is a Libby app, girly, because your girl's a Libby, girly, I have to wait 4 weeks for the next book in the series of this. And I'm very much happy about that because there's this other book that I've been reading in my quest to be in regality and touch grass, which is How to ADHD by, I want to say it's Jennifer McCabe. I got that, right? I want to listen to that as well. And I've actually gotten it from the library twice, but because in trying to read a book about ADHD, my ADHD prevented me from reading it, I guess. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? So in doing that, I haven't been able to read it, and so it was returned twice, and I had to wait a couple of weeks to get it back, and I finally have that. So third time's the charm. We're not going to let that book slip between our fingers. My other friend is going to keep me accountable on this because I have to give her a book report, and then afterwards, hopefully by that point, it will be freed up from the library system because I can't read physical books right now in this stage of my life. It's hard for me to sit down. One day I will, probably on vacation, which is coming up actually, so maybe then. But anywho, I'm not a person who likes to actually have physical books because when I buy the books and I'm done with them, I'm not really probably going to reread them unless I really, really enjoy it and it's Harry Potter, which I'm reamassing that collection. Thank you. So what I do is the only time I have physical copies of a book is once I've like listened to it on an audiobook and I'm like, wow, I really enjoyed it. Like, A Simple Path to Wealth for J.L. Collins. I am going to reread that. We'll see how I feel about the hot ADHD because what's really been happening is I've been wanting to read the book, but I want to take notes as I read the book. And sometimes I don't have my iPad or sometimes I'm not in the mood. So I'm putting too much pressure on it. So I'm like, you know what? Too much pressure and I'm nervous. Sorry. Let me read this book, audiobook style. And then afterwards, if I find that it's helpful to me and I'm going to need to revisit some tips and such, I am going to go ahead and get the physical copy of the book as well. And she also has a YouTube channel, which I didn't realize she was the one who wrote that book, but I had stumbled upon her YouTube videos before. Once, we talk to people on couches and they tell us things about ourselves that we thought was completely normal this entire time. But apparently, no, you're just different and nothing wrong with that.